Good morning and welcome to Monday Morning Motivation. Today is October 8th. And for those of you who don't know me or haven't listened to Moto before, my name is Aspen Calhoun. I am a Superstar Director and I am close to my 4-year mark with Cincy, which will be in December. If you don't know me or haven't listened to Moto before, you might not know that when it comes to Cincy, when it comes to what we do or what I do, my favorite part of what I do is motivating others. And that is the way I feel like I can share myself in the best way. So hopefully you appreciate some of the things I have to say. One other thing I wanted to add before we get started here is this morning on the call live, there aren't too many of you on. So once I post this link as a recording, if you want to comment on the recording that you want to keep seeing the recordings posted or a reason maybe why you can't get on live, just so I feel like what I'm doing is valid, not that I need to be validated, but just so I know that you guys still want to hear what I have to say and that I should continue and move forward with Monday Morning Motivation, that some of you are getting some value with it and you're hearing from your teams that they like it if you're posting the link or things like that, just so I know where to move forward. All right, so let's get moving here. Motivation. Who is your motivator? A lot of times when we think about motivation, we usually don't think about a who. And I want you to pick out maybe 2 or 3 people in your life along the way. Pick out one who motivated you maybe through the last 5 years of your life. And then pick out somebody who motivated you maybe when you're a child, someone you looked up to, someone who made you decide who you wanted to be. And now I want you to look at your life now and think about, do you have someone new, someone that is maybe ahead of where you are, maybe is something that you want to be, maybe something that you want to grow into, and ask yourself, is it time to rethink the who of my motivation? Do I need to set a new standard for myself in who I look up to? Sometimes we look up to the same person for so long we don't even realize that we've reached the level that they're at. So, and that's a good thing. So maybe it's time to rethink your who. Next, I want to ask you, what is your motivator? Why are you doing what you do? Why do you sell Cincy? Why are you a consultant? Why do you sell Grace Adele? Why do you sell Velada? Why are you doing what you do? Do you know what your why is? Do you have a long-term goal? Do you have a short-term goal? Write down a why. If you haven't come up with that yet, you need to do it today. Don't wait any longer. Why do we need these things? We need a who and we need a why and a what for forward motion. If we don't have a reason behind what we're doing, there is no drive. We can gather everything we need, we can do all we need to do, but if we don't have a who, what, and a why, there is no heart behind our sales. There's no motivation behind what we do. So also don't forget to be getting your daily dose of Get Up and Go. I always tell you guys, get on, sign up for a podcast, sign up for a webinar series on the internet, sign up for quotes that will email you every day, different things that give you motivation. Everybody knows that, okay, some people are motivated by books, some people are motivated by stories, some by quotes, different people, different inspirations. Get your daily dose, whatever that may be. If we don't have these things, we will not persevere. If we can't continue to motivate ourselves and keep moving forward, we will not persevere. And it's through perseverance that people become great. It's through perseverance people become motivators. Through perseverance, people become that person that everyone else strives to be like. All right, so let's get into what I want to talk to you guys today about. And I want to talk about a few things that I've thought over this last week. And I can tell you Pinterest is something fairly new, and it's especially new to me. And I know those of you who have been on Pinterest for a while probably are going to laugh at me, but I just recently started doing Pinterest this last week. And I put some thought into this, and I decided that Most of us are living a Pinterest life. And for those of you who aren't on Pinterest, this may seem a little crazy, but I'll do some explaining so you can understand as well. And if you haven't checked it out, check it out, even if you don't want to become a part of it. So why are we living a Pinterest life? Okay, so I get on Pinterest and I'm like, this is the best place in the whole world. There's a million ideas. There's a way for me to organize all these million ideas. I get to build my own folders, and I get to name them whatever I want to name them. It's a place for me to go when I have a few minutes of spare time, or when I don't have a few minutes of spare time and I want to waste time. I can be in awe of others. I can see pictures of people. I can look at other people's little pins, and I'm like, holy cow, look at how many followers she has, or look at all of her boards, and look at all of her, she must have been doing this for 100 years or spent 1,000,000 hours on it. I can be in awe of creativity, the different crafts and the different projects that people make. Not only that, but it's a feeling of being accepted. When you share something and 5 other people share the same thing you share, you're like, oh, they like what I like too. And knowing that others like what we do is kind of a pat on the back, or kind of a reassurance that we're not crazy and we like the things that everybody else likes. And that's something that starts even when I think we're in kindergarten. Automatically we're around friends, and it's really cool to like what they like. And if we all like the same things, that means we can be friends. So you start gathering up all of these things you like and all these pictures and organizing and all these ideas. And in seeing all that, I realized that Pinterest is the same thing that we do in our daily lives. In our daily lives, most of us are gatherers. So I ask you, what good is it all? What good are all of these tools that we gather through our businesses or our lives if we don't use them? So we can be on Pinterest for 3 days straight, 24 hours a day, and we can build 1,000,000 folders with 1,000,000 cute ideas in them, or a way we want to work out, or the things we want to cook, or quotes that we love, or pictures of houses that we want to move into someday. But what good are all of these things if we don't ever do anything with any of them? So we all have a toolbox full of tools. We have, in our business, we have the training center, we have webinars, we have Facebook groups, we have our leaders, we have books, we have internet. The list could go on forever and ever and ever. We have all of this knowledge, all of these things that are given to us and that we pin up in our mind or on our bulletin boards in our office, or we gather them in our email, or put them 1,000,000 different places. We write out lists, but what good is all of this if we don't use it? We have this stack of lumber, of knowledge, of lists, of folders, of papers, of all of these things. And I want you guys to put some thought into everything you have, all of the tools you have, and ask yourself, what good is it all? So the collecting and gathering, I want to kind of break this down. Why do we do this? Why do we gather all of these things and not use them? First of all, it's easier to gather materials than it is to build something. We can go to the store and we can buy all the crafts we need to make this huge, giant, amazing, super cute project, but that's the easy part. That's the fun part. The fun part is getting the stuff that we need to do what we need to do. There's no failure in gathering. We can gather all we want to gather, but it doesn't matter if it works or not. We can pin 500 recipes on Pinterest. If we never make one, we can never ever fail. It can never ever not turn out like a funky cow instead of a reindeer. It can never ever turn out like a weird looking blob instead of a ghost. There's no failure in gathering these things. And so gathering is the fun part. It looks good without the work. When we can organize in Pinterest and pin 1,000,000 cute pictures, and everybody loves them and everybody shares them, and we keep passing them around and we keep gathering more, it all looks so good. When we can put them all in folders, it's very organized, and it's very gratifying just to look at what we have gathered. And our offices can be the same way. We can gather 1,000,000 books on motivation. We can gather 1,000,000 books on how-tos in selling and motivating and growing a team. And we can buy 100 Mary Christensen books or tapes on DVD or whatever, but it's all gathering if we do not use the things we gather. Not only that, but the others like it. If somebody walks into your office and you have the full collection of some great motivator, Zig Ziglar, or whoever's books, and they're like, wow, did you read all those? Yeah, I sure did. That's amazing. But the real question should be, did you do what they told you to do in those books? Did you bake the recipe that you pinned on Pinterest? Did you make that craft for your kids that you pinned up there? Because otherwise, if you don't act on your gathering, you're just gathering. So how do we change? How do we build with the materials we have? What makes us do that? First of all, we have to build with the materials you have. You have to stop where you are and pick a few things that you want to do before you gather more. If you have learned 10 things, even from convention several months ago, and you haven't used them yet, stop gathering more information. Use what you have before you move forward. Then gather more. Also, you have to keep up on the building plans. If you're going to the training center once a week, or you're listening to the live training calls once a week, and you start building on one idea, you have to keep up on the building plans. You have to go back and keep getting more food, because if you listen to one thing and don't keep feeding yourself on that idea, you'll lose momentum. Not only that, but it's focus. When we gather ideas, we don't have to focus on one thing. We can continue to gather. We can continue to build folders. We can continue to build piles and email accounts and bulletin boards and all of these things that look nice. But if we don't focus on one single thing, there is no point of doing any gathering at all. Be known as a builder. How do we do that? If you are using some of the ideas that you have gathered, how do you become known as a builder? First of all, you have to share what you've built. We have a lot of people, let me talk about this metaphorically. If you build a house and you have these amazing plans because you're an amazing architect and you build this amazing building and everybody comes to look at it, but you never ever share how you did it, it's of no value to anyone. And you're just that person. You're just an architect. You're amazing, but you need to be known as a builder, someone that shares. They want to know how you did what you did. Use your ideas and share pictures like Pinterest, like the people who have shared those pictures with us that we love to gather. Do trainings on what you've done, what has turned out right for you, what has turned out wrong for you. Okay, say I have this amazing new idea that, and you guys probably saw it, I post a video of how you could run a Sincerely Sent fundraiser. But what good is that idea if I can't share with you how it worked for me? And if I'm being honest, I'm still working on that. I still want to book that fundraiser so I can share that. But what good are these ideas if no one can share how they went good, how they went bad, how we can fix them? Do videos of yourself sharing the things that worked for you, sharing the things that didn't, sharing an idea that you had, what you did with it. You can even share a how-to on doing whatever idea it is. It can be something small because people appreciate simplicity. We know that because of the business we're in, because of the company we chose. Simplicity rules all. Share how you built it, how you did what you did, the plans of what you did. Share the outline of what you wrote to a person, of pictures of how you messed up. You can share what people said to you, what worked and what didn't. And also at the end of it, you need to share the feeling of accomplishment, because you can look at, let me give you guys a comparison. If you're watching a video, say you're watching the cooking channel, and you're watching someone cook something. Throughout the whole thing, they burn their finger, they spill some sauce on the table, but at the end they have this amazing product, and you can see the smile on their face, and you can see the people around them when they taste it, and they can see how amazing it turned out. So now let's compare that to reading a cookbook and reading the recipe. You're getting the same information, but one person is sharing with you that feeling of accomplishment. That's the difference in just information and information with accomplishment. So if you have to share the way you feel once you complete a project. Share how it changed you. Share what you did right. Share what you did wrong. Share what you would have done better. Share how it all turned out, so people can grow on that, so they can grow on your accomplishment. So they're not just reading a recipe, but they're reading your heart, that they're knowing that you actually did what you're telling them to do, because that's where it's at. Builders are motivators. We gather from builders. Most of the pictures, most of the ideas, most of the books, most of the bulletin board things, most of the emails that we gather and hold on to for ourselves, we gather from builders. We gather from those who have accomplished, from those who inspire us to do these things. They inspire us, not only that, but they share with us. And it's not just a list of something to do, but it's an idea that they did this, so we want to. We look up to builders because they've gone before us, because they have accomplishments, and because they've persevered, not because they never screw up. Someone that tells you that they've accomplished everything that they have and they have never made a mistake, they're either lying to you or they're crazy, because that never, ever happens. You have to fail before you can accomplish. You have to persevere through the things that go wrong before you can do it right. And they are no different than you and I, these motivators. The only differences are they've made the choice to build, and they've made the choice to share with you. They have the determination to persevere, and they have this heart that continues to push them through goals. So think about those things, and if you guys are on Pinterest, I want you to maybe take a step back and look at your Pinterest and say, how long will I continue to gather before I actually use some of these ideas? And I know not everything on there is something that you're planning on doing. Some of it is just quotes or pictures of stuff you like or whatever, but some of that stuff is ideas. Some of the stuff you have gathered in your office or in your inbox or in the training center or trainings you watched or a notebook full of notes that you've taken on things. Some of these things are things that you planned on doing. So how long will you gather before you choose to build? So here's my challenge for you. First of all, I want you to use some of the tools that you have. Use some of the things that you've gathered to do something, to fulfill an idea, to make a craft. Even if it has nothing to do with your business, use something that you've gathered to make something. And start small. Start with something that will take 5 minutes. Start with, oh, I'm going to email 2 people. Something small, and grow through your successes and failure. And I've said that before, and some people said, well, how do you grow through a failure? The way you grow through a failure is by learning by it and not letting it stop you. Failure to me is often more valuable than success. The things I screw up on, I learn more from those than the day I make the finish line on certain things. So grow through your failures. Remember what you did wrong and grow through those. If you're continuing to do the same thing every single day and it's not working, you need to go back to your gathering box and get a new idea. Make an action plan. Know what tools you'll use and how. And when we're talking about business, you guys know how it works with crafts. I mean, you got a list of what you need to buy and then you build it. When it comes to your business, it's often a little bit more complicated than that. So what tools will you use to make your fall work? If you want to do a fundraiser, what tools can you use to make that work? Go back and pull up the trainings that you've listened to before. Know what you need to do and write the steps that you need to do to get there. Not only that, but make a timeline. We can gather for 1,000,000 years and we can start 1,000,000 different projects, but if we never ever finish anything, it makes no difference at all. A house built in years is only one house. So what if we continue to complete idea after idea after idea? We could build a development. And the people that you see as a success are those people who continue to build developments, the people that continue to build up person after person after person because people follow them. People use them as their motivator because they're motivating, because they have an action plan for every single idea that they have, and they use the tools that they have. They're not only gathering, but they're building. So make a timeline and know this is the date that I will start and this is the date that I will finish. Just like when you send out a basket party, you tell your hostess, this is the date you start to sell, this is the day that I will pick it up from you. So how many of us get frustrated when we go back and say, hey, are you all finished with your basket party? This is the date we said it would end. And she says, oh, I didn't collect any orders yet. Can I get a couple more days? It's so frustrating. But you know what? She didn't create a timeline. She gathered the idea. She knew what she was going to do. You gave her an action plan. Okay, here's what you need to do. You need to go out and talk to this people, this people, this people. Take these to work with you, and then make sure and show your friends. And she knew what she was going to do. She gathered it all, but she didn't put it into action. She didn't have a timeline of saying, this is when I will complete it. So just being on the other side, you know how frustrating that is. So remember not to be that person in your business. If you have an idea, complete what you're doing and move forward with it. Last but not least, believe in yourself first. And I say this stuff to you guys almost every single time. No matter what you're doing, no matter who you're planning on being, no matter what you gather, no matter what ideas you have, if you don't believe in yourself, none of it means anything at all. And I love this quote that I found yesterday. Don't wait until everything is just right. It will never be perfect. There will always be challenges, obstacles, and less than perfect conditions. So what? Get started now. With each step you take, you'll grow stronger and stronger, more and more skilled, more and more self-confident, and more successful. Believe in yourself and don't wait. Continue to gather, because I know the gathering is fun, and I guess I'm a self-proclaimed Pinterest addict now because obviously I'm a gatherer and I didn't realize it. But continue to gather, but don't forget to build. Pick a few things and start building. So thank you guys so much for jumping on today, and most of you who are listening to this obviously are listening to the recording. So leave me a comment if you want to continue, if you would like me to continue to post these recordings. And have a great week, build something, and happy gathering. Thanks, guys.